Every artist avoids drawing feet. Not because they are hard, but because they lie to you. They look simple from above. Then your drawing explodes the moment you put them on the page. In this video, I'll show you one shift that finally made my feet stop looking like awkward Lego blocks. For a long time, my characters looked okay, until I reached the feet. I evaded drawing them so badly that I could only find 2 illustrations in the last 3 years that had feet in them. The breakthrough? I wasn't drawing structure, but just my idea of a foot. Once I broke it down into an ellipse for the heel and a skewed box for the front, every angle suddenly made sense. Let me walk you through the same process. The foot is a flexible and asymmetrical part of the human body. Most of the time, we see it in perspective because we're looking down at it. Its structure is a lot like the hands, but with one important difference. The hand is built for flexibility, while the foot is built for stability. Let's start with the bones, because once you understand these, every foot angle becomes so much easier to draw. Near the ankle, we have the tarsals. Think of these as the foot's equivalent of the carpals in the hand. There are 7 of them, and they take up half of the foot. The biggest and most prominent one is the calcaneus, the heel. This is where the Achilles tendon attaches, and it bears most of our weight. It has this really interesting shape that pushes the silhouette of the entire foot backwards. That's why the transition from the ankle into the foot isn't a straight line. It goes down and then back. Once you see how far back the calcaneus foot actually goes, your side view feet will instantly look less stiff. Next, we have the metatarsals, the longer bones that work the same way as the metacarpals of the hand. These control most of the movement. Then come the proximal phalanges, then the middle phalanges. Just like the thumb, the big toe does not have a middle phalanx. And finally, the distal phalanges at the end. Okay, muscles next. Just like the hands, the foot doesn't actually have a lot of muscle. It's mostly tendons. On top, we have the extensors. On the bottom are the flexors. Both muscle groups don't really grow. So if you're drawing a super muscular character, the feet won't bulk up the way the arms or the legs do. For proportions, the foot's height and width is roughly 1/3 of its length. It also arches, which allows it to distribute weight. We can simplify it by using basic shapes. A sphere for the ankle, an ellipse for the heel, a triangular box for the front of the foot, and smaller boxes for the toes. For its overall length, it is roughly half the distance from the floor to the knee. But the important part is the asymmetry. The foot does not go straight from the ankle to the front. It skews slightly. It also has that curve on the inside. When looking at the silhouette from this angle, only the tibia's ankle bone affects the silhouette. The fibula's doesn't, even though it sticks out on the outside. For the front and back views, we use the tibia as our guide. From the front, extend the line of the tibia straight down to the ground with just a small skew. Then use roughly 1.5 the size of the ankle for the width of the foot and close the shape again by drawing a line back to the fibula. From the back, it's the same process. Extend the tibia's line to the floor, take 1.5 ankle distance and build the foot from that. It gets a little bit trickier in a 3/4 view. To make it easier, sketch out the floor first, then place your structure. The triangular box at the front is convex, but the peak shifts towards the inside of the foot. It's the same design idea as the hand, but while the hand peaks in the middle, the foot's peak shifts towards the big toe. This marks the placement of the big and the second toe. We add one box for the big toe and one long box for all the other toes. Don't forget to add the slight curve on the inside of the foot. If you only remember the skewed triangular box and the curves, your feet will already look 2 times better from most angles. Once the structure is in, we can add details on the inner side of the foot and fat pads. These are basically natural shock absorbers. The biggest pads are under the heel and the ball of the foot. And they are responsible for that footprint you see when you walk on sand. Let's go through each view, from the front, round the sides, and add the toe definitions. Important detail, the big toe points up slightly. The other usually point more down. So you don't see much of the toenail, the big toe, while the others might be visible. From the back, define the heel more. Remember that the foot skews slightly, so we will see here a little bit of the toes at the end. We add some rounds here for the toes and add some subtle lines for the Achilles tendon. Moving on to the 3/4 view, we start with rounding out the heel and then adding the arch for the inside of the feet. Then we add the bumps of the joints between the metatarsals and the proximal phalanges on the side. Now let's add some more details for the toes. The toe placement is rather diverse. They can be arranged in an arc or have almost the same length, or even follow a diagonal line. I'll place them in an arch here. And for all the smaller toes, they have this little stair-step dip after the middle phalanx. Except the pinky, because it's so small it barely shows. So that's the foot. It's weird, it's asymmetrical, it's built for stability. And it has a lot more going on than we tend to think when we first draw it. But once you break it down into bones, simple shapes, and organic forms, it suddenly becomes one of the most fun parts to draw. Or not. Because nobody likes feet, but at least we can now draw them. This video wraps up my muscle anatomy series. We've gone all the way from the neck on top down to the feet. I'll still be covering more tips and tricks about anatomy in future videos. So tell me in the comments, which body part won't you help with next? Hands in perspective? Ankles? Or faces? Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Give it a like, maybe subscribe, and maybe I see you in the next one. Happy drawing!